Hello, welcome to this update for the U.S. and Canada. We wanted to make another update today to talk about some more details that we didn't see yesterday. So overall, we still have this bigger winter weather happening parts of the northern U.S. and southern Canada. So in the U.S. today, we do have some snow in parts of Montana and Idaho, even heavier parts of northern Idaho and Washington, and also heavier parts of northern Minnesota into Ontario. And we do have some mixed precipitation across the north and some snow in New England as well. Day 2 shows more snow all the way down to New Mexico, parts of Minnesota, and all the way to Idaho, shows some critical fire weather possible in California, and more areas of freezing rain possible in the northeast in some areas, and some heavy rain in the south. And day 3 shows even some more heavy rain, some more freezing rain possible, and more like snow in parts of the plains and the northern Midwest for day 3, Tuesday. So be aware. We have a marginal risk of excessive rainfall today, parts of Louisiana to Tennessee, because of those storms there. But tomorrow's already is light in parts of Louisiana and Mississippi, so be careful there tomorrow with some heavier rainstorms from the Gulf. And a marginal day 3 still a bigger slide, and through northern Florida, parts of Georgia into like South Carolina and Alabama, and a marginal all the way north towards Virginia, so be careful there, some flooding. And day 4 still a slight in parts of the northeast, and this is why, because of that big cold front that I showed you yesterday, that will form like Wednesday and bring some heavy rain in parts of the northeast, and even might bring some snow near the Great Lakes, but not any big nor'eastern or anything, but it might bring a little bit of snow. It shows a marginal all the way down to North Carolina. Day 5 doesn't show anything yet. Winter weather shows the snowfall probabilities in Idaho and Washington a little bit heavier, northern Minnesota, some spots in Montana there, and shows heavier into Canada, especially like Atlantic Canada and Ontario, Manitoba, and shows like day 2 still parts of Ontario there, and shows in Colorado and northern New Mexico, especially in south central Colorado. Day 3 shows a thing or two in Wyoming, a higher probability there, and to eastern Canada. Day 4 shows some along the Great Lakes in New York on Wednesday, because the heavier rain will be like on the coast, and shows some snow possible in western New York and parts of Canada as well, and also the Great Lakes. Might be some lake effect because this is very close to the lake. Day 5 shows more across Washington, some there in Oregon, and still more parts of New York there in the lakes. Day 6, some near Michigan, but very little, more like the northwest, those mountain ranges there. Day 7, next Saturday to Sunday, shows a lot more the northwest, so be aware. So day 1 is actually tomorrow, Monday to Tuesday. They show more storms the south, close to 1.5 inches or something, especially northern Mississippi there and Tennessee. Day 2 shows more throughout Georgia, especially 1.5 inches, like northern Florida and Mississippi. Day 2 is actually day 3, Tuesday to Wednesday. Now day 4 for Wednesday and Thursday shows that bigger cold front in the northeast, widespread like 1.5 to 2 inches throughout New York, Massachusetts, Connecticut, especially like Rhode Island and northern Virginia, parts of Maryland. So yeah, be aware. Day 4 still like Thursday to Friday, some rain Maine and other parts of New England. The next Friday to Saturday actually shows some in the northwest and some in the central plains. It shows near the lakes there, might be some lake effect. Day 6, even some more storms near Texas, but nothing crazy. And more in the northwest, starting there in California, parts of Washington and Oregon. Day 7, some more in the northwest, and more scared to isolated storms in the south. Day 1 through 7 shows those totals close to 3 to 4 inches. That's like 3 inches or something along the northeast. So be aware that rain event, and more like in the south from those storms, some heavier accumulations, and more in the northwest from what's coming later. So be careful there. And there is like here some hazards. Day 3 through 7 does show the heavy rain in the south and some spots of heavy snow along the north and northwest, and the critical fire there. So be aware. And here, let's see if they have it. Some snowfall maps, but it's taking, yeah, it isn't showing here now, but it might show up later. So now in the storms, we don't have anything crazy today, just those storms posing some heavy rain parts of the south. Be aware. Tomorrow still some storms there near, like from Texas to Kentucky, some scary thunderstorms. And day 3 there's actually a marginal from Florida, parts of Georgia and Alabama. So be aware, severe storm or 2 possible. Isolated severe thunderstorms possible because parts of southern Alabama, southwestern Georgia, and the adjacent Florida Panhandle on Tuesday. So be aware for Tuesday there. Let's see, the fires, no critical today Sunday, but tomorrow Monday shows an elevated. So parts of, because they say elevated, but now it's critical. So yeah, this like from Monday to Tuesday shows a big critical just north of Los Angeles, parts of southern Santa Barbara, and elevated all the way down to San Diego, not in the sea but like in the nearby mountains. So be careful there, especially the critical with those high winds and everything. So stay safe there. And here the warnings, we actually have some blizzard warnings now in parts of western Montana, shows also winter storm warnings, parts of northern Minnesota, winter weather advisories. If you're curious, just click on any warning here on the map and you'll see more information. Blizzard warning tonight, nighttime hazards can be nearly impossible to see, travel is discouraged, so please be careful. Some high gusts, snow drifts, and reduce visibility. Some more high wind warnings throughout Montana, and all the way down in New Mexico. You can click here, see some higher wind gusts, and there's like in northern Minnesota those winter storm warnings. If you want information the warning itself, just click here on winter storm warning. And they say here heavy snow expected and the locations here when. So yeah, be careful. And if I recommend you do this for all the warnings here, depending on where you live, because this can be very helpful. Like if you live in Southern California, you click here, see like the red flag warnings. There's some information up there, but if you click on the warning itself, you can see how the winds will be, the relative humidity, and the impacts and everything. So be aware, and this link is in the description, so you can click and see the warnings here. And same thing for Canada. There are the winter storm warnings from Alberta to Ontario, and so winter weather advisories there. So Manitoba, some snowfall and winter storm warnings there. You just click on like snowfall warning here. You can see a strong low pressure system over southern Saskatchewan will give heavy snow to southern Manitoba beginning Sunday morning. So be careful there. Winter storm warnings, all this location, Manitoba, snowfall. Some areas are snowfall, other areas are winter storm warnings. But all these locations, just find your location here and click on like winter storm warning. You can see the freezing rain, the maximum wind gusts. So be careful with all those hazards there. Newfoundland Labradors, some wind warnings, and special weather statements in Newfoundland there. Special weather for like accumulating snowfall expected in parts of northeastern central Newfoundland, including Gonagre. So be careful there. In Ontario, some snowfall and winter weather advisories, and even some winter storm warnings there. So still some significant snowfall expected until late into Monday. More snowfall warnings here. Further south shows snowfall heavy at times, peak snowfall rates 2 to 4 centimeters per hour. So be careful in Ontario. Saskatchewan, a bunch of winter storm warnings, just like winter storm warnings. It's basically southern Saskatchewan where the low pressure system is. So be careful, southern Saskatchewan. You can click on winter storm warning there. There's a mix of snow, freezing rain, and rain in the region. So be careful in some higher gusts. This link is also in the description there. So be careful. As you can see here, that's the winter storm in those shades of blue. There's the snow and everything. There's also the snow in the northeast and parts of Atlantic Canada. So as you see, both winter storms moving there, and the other storm system the south with that partial severe weather. So Monday shows more like in Newfoundland and Labrador, some more in Quebec, some snow, and shows that snow there. Did they say like still Monday morning? Let's put like at 10 a.m. or something. Shows some more snow through Ontario, more throughout like Montana, Wyoming, in parts of the northern plains. Already shows snow like not snow but rain in parts of the mid-Atlantic in some areas, not areas. So it shows snow like Monday morning throughout central Canada as well. This moves Tuesday into Quebec and Ontario. Ontario already arrived on Monday, but in Quebec more on Tuesday. Shows more rain there, especially snow through central Quebec and some areas of freezing rain in those areas. So be careful. Tuesday to Wednesday, the cold front to start organizing there. Shows the heavy rain in parts of the northeast and mid-Atlantic. So be careful. Even some storms might cross Florida, some thunderstorms. Shows more Wednesday and Thursday that the heavy rain continues in the northeast. Be careful in those areas. Very late on Wednesday and too early on Thursday. Shows snow in New York and Pennsylvania. Back behind it, more snow in the Great Lakes. So be careful. Some more in Quebec, so heavier snow. It shows us some lost Pacific systems as well in Alaska and those areas. So still more snow for Alaska today, especially western Alaska, more for southern Alaska throughout this week. So be careful. And the other half shows Thursday into Friday, still some snow in the northeast, and especially like some snow in northern Canada and the Great Lakes there. It shows still some more storms on Saturday the 14th, some freezing rain ahead of it, and the systems across the northwest later, across like Saturday the 14th and into Sunday the 15th, and even before that shows more snow through central eastern Canada on the 15th, and more across western Canada starting on the 14th, and the western US like California, Nevada, those areas until like the 17th. So yeah, be aware in those areas. Some other models might have different opinions. There's the GFS, shows the snowstorm northern US to central Canada now. This moves 17 Tuesday, shows more for central eastern Canada and the northeast. Wednesday, the system starts organizing the severe weather, the heavy rain, shows snow behind it as well, New York and those areas. This model shows some very heavy rain on Thursday. This moves there, more snow later, Atlantic Canada, some areas. Even the 14th, this season is like this model has some freezing rain and snow, Wisconsin, some areas, and rain just south of it on the 14th. The system starting on the west already. It shows it arriving Friday into Saturday, some more snow and rain across the Pacific Northwest and Southwestern Canada, especially on the 15th and like into the 17th in Canada, and before that as well on the 14th. So be careful there. Even before that, on the 12th, the GFS more snow for central southern Alaska, Yukon, northwestern territories, and more stuff there. So be careful those areas. The snowfall accumulation does show there like this is Monday, shows all the way until Thursday. The GFS does have more snow, much of like the northeast and some areas. This is here, like in inches, shows some 7 inches, some spots show 14 inches, and shows like 0.3 in New York, and some 5, 8 inches, 10 inches, all the way down to northern Georgia, some 0.6. But the main thing would be like Vermont and New York. Shows more like throughout eastern Canada, so like 20 to 25 centimeters in many areas. Labrador, some more Newfoundland. So yeah, be aware. And until Thursday shows more like some 3 inches in Colorado, some more Montana, North Dakota, some parts of Idaho. So be aware. Shows some other whispers of snow there. Now until Friday, shows some starting Washington and Oregon between Thursday and Friday, and more there. Now until December 19th, already shows much more across the west there, but mainly the mountains and some more across the east. But that's like 10 days out, so that's too far. Let's focus on the short term. And here, the GFS until Friday has like more starting in Western Canada, some 24 centimeters, some 6 centimeters, some more in Alberta, some like 3-4 centimeters. So BOR in Saskatchewan, some 8 centimeters, some more there in Ontario. BOR southern Manitoba and Ontario, especially in Quebec, some heavier snow, 37 centimeters in those areas. BOR, and until like this December 16th, there will be the heavier snow in British Columbia and those areas close to 100 centimeters on the mountains, northeastern British Columbia, through the south there, Vancouver Island shows some more, and most of Saskatchewan, northern Alberta especially, but the south as well, like today with that winter storm, shows some more Yukon, some more like northwestern territories. So BOR, and yeah, and shows more until the 16th has a bigger spot like 68 centimeters in central Quebec there. So yeah, be aware right on the Great Lakes, southern Ontario, be aware some snow squalls and stuff. And yeah, be careful. And now some other models like the Icon, just until Friday, shows more in Ontario there, especially in Quebec, some 39 centimeters, shows more northernmost Quebec and some Arctic Islands. Be aware. It shows more like not much New Brunswick, but some northern Nova Scotia and southern Ontario along the lake there, especially that area prone to lake effect. So be careful. Shows most of the Great Lakes throughout southern Ontario and the UP of Michigan, some more snow, and like shows already some snow on the west starting on Friday across British Columbia, but most will be like Saturday, Sunday, shows the Argos all the way to like 102 centimeters southern British Columbia until Sunday, and more in eastern British Columbia. So be aware those areas. Now it does have like until Friday, some in Washington already, some 1 inch or something. There's more like in Idaho, some snow in eastern Montana, central Montana, even western Montana. There's some more in Colorado, some 4 inches, northern New Mexico, more in the UP of Michigan, so like some 11 to 12 inches, even more there. And shows until Friday doesn't have as much as in the northeast from that system, like some 3 inches New York, some like Pennsylvania, some 7 inches, 6 inches, and some in Kentucky, Ohio, Indiana. It does have some in Maine, especially New England. There's the European now. It shows more like in New York, especially Wednesday and Thursday, some 13 inches. More on the lakes, some 10 to 13 inches as well. Vermont and like Maine and those areas. So be aware. Some whispers in the southern Appalachians, West Virginia, a whisper too in like Indiana, Kentucky, and some light snowflakes in Missouri. Does show North Dakota, South Dakota, more in eastern Montana there. Be aware, central Montana and the Rockies there in Colorado Springs, some 5 centimeters, northern New Mexico. So yeah, be aware those areas. And until the 18th shows much more across the west already, until the 18th. So yeah, be aware. But that's like 10 days out, and shows here like across Quebec and those areas, some 49 centimeters, some 45, 31 centimeters, more across Newfoundland, northern Nova Scotia, Labrador, and northern Quebec, shows more in southern Ontario, but some northern central Ontario, and yeah, Manitoba, southern Manitoba, some areas of Saskatchewan, Alberta, central Alberta as well, and more across British Columbia until Friday, and until Tuesday, shows more British Columbia, especially in the south there. So yeah, be careful. Shows more like northwestern territories in Yukon. This goes and shows like where is it here in Alaska that heavier snow close to like some 58 inches or even more. So that's like some 109 inches. That's very high. Those mountains there. I don't think there's anyone there. There are some small towns. Be careful. The snow accumulation, the driving conditions and everything. Because trust me, I was in Europe and the mountains these days and it snowed like crazy. And yeah, shows more in eastern Alaska there and central Alaska some more snow next 5 days. Northwestern territories even to Nunavut. So yeah, be aware those areas. Now there's the snowfall accumulation, the Canadian model. So just until like Monday morning shows more for southern Manitoba, Saskatchewan, Alberta. Some even shows some in Washington and northern northern Idaho, some in Alaska, and the one like in the northeast into Atlantic Canada. Later, this is Monday afternoon shows more northern Minnesota and Ontario, shows more across like Montana, those areas. Into Tuesday morning, alright, shows more in east, western, and southern Alaska until Tuesday at noon. Tuesday afternoon starts accumulating throughout most central to northern Quebec on Tuesday, mainly south central Quebec shows more in Ontario, and later Wednesday starts accumulating more for like southeastern Quebec, shows more like Tuesday, especially Monday to Tuesday in Colorado and New Mexico, and Tuesday there into Wednesday, somewhere in eastern Quebec, and starts accumulating Kentucky, in Ohio. Wednesday goes into West Virginia, in New York. It really gets kind of heavier in Quebec, especially on Thursday, and that's no continues there, and starts on the west a little bit heavier. This like Saturday, next Sunday, and yeah, and this is until next Monday, the 16th. So be careful with the snow in those areas. And now the wind. Let's see here some wind in the US first in the next 24 hours. So still shows some high wind, especially Montana and those areas there. So here, what's happening? So here, next 24-hour wind gust. So this is like the max wind gust. Shows right between Mexico, not Mexico, like New Mexico and Texas, and higher gusts, close to 50 mile per hour, even more. Southeastern Wyoming, some specific spots there, close to even 60, 70 mile per hour gusts. And from Montana, some specific spots more than 70, but most spots to like 40 to 60 mile per hour gusts. In the yellows are like close to 60, and the reds are like 45 to 55 mile per hour gusts. So be careful. Some in Southern California already, parts of Nevada and Arizona, a little bit breezier sometimes, but nothing crazy. And in parts of New England there. So be careful in terms of freezing rain accumulation next 24 hours. This model isn't really showing much. A finger or two in the northeast, they do show there. Vermont and New York and Minnesota, finger or two there. And now, uh, before that, let's just see the winds like in Canada and maybe some other models. So this system now has the stronger winds in Montana. The European model is showing those stronger gusts there, and like southern Alberta and Saskatchewan, those higher gusts. This goes Sunday, still kind of high in the Great Lakes throughout Monday, especially near like Atlantic Canada and eastern Quebec. Tuesday still shows there, like especially the cold front building across Wednesday. Be careful, there might be some marine warnings in the Gulf and marine warnings along the east coast on Wednesday, and some very high gusts near the coast of Mexico there. We will talk about this in the Caribbean weather forecast, and stay tuned for that tomorrow most likely. And shows some high gusts like West Virginia, North Carolina, and some areas on Thursday. This goes slightly like into Atlantic Canada later Thursday. The Europeans are like 111 km per gust. Nova Scotia, close to like 60 or 50 mile per gust on northeasternmost Maine, and like some 40 50 mile per gust northern Maine. Shows close to 100 in eastern Quebec there. Thursday into Friday shows more there across parts of eastern Quebec and Labrador, especially northernmost Quebec, so some very high gusts. So yeah, be careful there. Across Thursday, Friday, this goes the Arctic Islands, be careful there, and also into southeast, southwestern Greenland if you are there. And Friday shows Saturday. The Europeans, this gigantic like Pacific cyclone coming to the west with some like widespread 50 to 60 mile per gust in California, and even close to 70 at some points, but like that's still like 60 mile per gust. So yeah, but this like on the 14th shows some higher gusts, and eventually into Montana again on the 15th, and southern Alberta. And then it does have more crazy Pacific cyclones later in southern Alaska and maybe across the west. This is the 17th already. And now, this week on Wednesday and Tuesday, the 11th, shows those very high gusts in Alaska, close to like even 75 mile per gust, 131 km per gust. many areas of southern Alaska, so stay safe. Those winds and plus the snow there. Uh, this like Wednesday, Thursday shows maybe Hudson Bay, some areas, northern Alaska, northernmost northwestern territories. Might be some Arctic winds and maybe some snow showers. So yeah, be careful those areas. And the temperatures are still very cold. Let's see Canada first, since we are right here. So minus 17, minus 18. Alright, tomorrow morning, like Monday, this the afternoon, I think. But on the morning, a little bit colder northern Ontario. On Monday, be careful there. Close to minus 25 degrees Celsius, northern Quebec and Labrador. So be aware, most negative temperatures for British Columbia, the northwestern territories and Alberta, so -3, many spots of Alberta. Vancouver kind of escapes it, but most of the other areas, very cold. Shows Monday, Tuesday, this massive cold air starts coming down. As you can see, like -32 in Nunavut, northern Saskatchewan and Manitoba, those colder temperatures in Alberta. So be careful, the wind chills there. Very cold Tuesday. This goes into Wednesday. Into Wednesday, this goes like to minus 27 degrees Celsius, minus 23. So very cold starting Wednesday, or like especially Manitoba, Saskatchewan, and Alberta, and Nunavut, like minus 33 degrees Celsius, especially eastern northwestern territories. So be careful there, because the temperatures will suddenly plummet down as that cold air comes in. And like Wednesday morning, still so minus 30 all the way to southern Saskatchewan, Manitoba, western Ontario, a little bit less cold in parts of southern Quebec, but still very cold in Ontario and parts of northern Quebec and Labrador. This goes Thursday, there still cold, branches more to Ontario on like Friday morning, still northern Manitoba, Nunavut, all the way to minus like 35 degrees Celsius. Cold across the west, still very cold, some minus 11 some areas. Now 100% of Ontario under negative temperatures on Friday morning. On Saturday, still very cold there, so minus 11, minus 20 and minus 6. So yeah, so be careful in those areas. In Alaska, it's very cold too. The island's a little bit less cold, but still very cold in many areas. Like, where's this thing here? Temperatures. So this shows minus 10, minus 20 Fahrenheit in the north there. Some more populous areas like Anchorage, so 19 Fahrenheit, minus 3, minus 8 Fahrenheit, but that's like next week. Now it's pretty chilly, so minus 7 Fahrenheit northern Alaska, a little bit less on the south, but like 10 Fahrenheit Monday. The southeast is a little bit better, but north in eastern Alaska a little bit colder. That's like western Alaska, like southwestern Alaska, not southeastern Alaska. It shows like Tuesday, Wednesday still cold, and kind of gets colder after Friday, most of Alaska. So be careful those areas. And here, let's see, we still have those cold temperatures in the U.S., especially the northwest there, to those like very cold temperatures. And in the Rockies, be careful in the high elevations. Tonight into Monday morning shows something like teens and 20s there, especially even some single digits parts in the highest parts of Colorado and Wyoming. So be aware. Northern New England, like teens as well. So be careful. Some 60s in the south, but yeah, very cold those areas. Even the plains, some 30s. Maximum temperatures Monday still pretty cold there, something like 30s and 20s, especially in the Rockies, in the northern plains, in the northern New England in the afternoon. Tuesday morning shows some 30s all the way to Texas, some 60s in Florida, but yeah, some 20s in the northeast. Show like some single digits to negative in the highest peaks of Colorado, 4 degrees some central parts of Nevada, some 37 and some 30s near Las Vegas. It shows more like some 9 in Wyoming, very cold in the mountains. Be careful in Idaho and Utah. Shows some 11, 14 Fahrenheit in the north there. And day 3 shows some 60s and even 71 in Southern California. Some 8 is in Florida, like like 16 Fahrenheit in the north, so some 25. Still very cold in the afternoon, even in Colorado, Wyoming, and some high elevations. at night, Wednesday morning, shows much colder, so like -7 Fahrenheit, -9, because that Arctic air coming from Canada, so -4. So be careful, stay warm there. That air is coming down, very cold. Some 9 degrees, 10 degrees, some 35 all the way to central southern Texas. Still kind of warmish in Florida. Some like 30 is for is part of California, colder in the mountains. Day 4 showed like some still some -4 in northern Minnesota and like North Dakota. Some 30s all the way to south central in Illinois and Ohio, and still cold at the very high elevations of the Rockies, and 20s and teens. Day 4 minimum like Thursday morning all the way to -17 Fahrenheit there. This might still change, but this is a right indication of very cold air. Please stay warm there, especially with the wind chills, so please be be aware of that. That's Thursday morning, and especially during the night. And some Thursdays all the way down to Florida, so already starting to cool back down there again. On Thursday it shows some 20s much of the mid south, and not 20s but like 20s in the Midwest, and some 30s in the mid south and southeast, all the way down to Texas, and some teens in the Midwest. So be aware in the northeast, some 30s, and across the west still very cold. At Thursday afternoon, still some 10 or even less Fahrenheit in the north, northern Midwest, and northeast, some 30s, and like still cold in the high mountains there. Day 5 minimum Friday morning, still some like teens in much of the northeast. It's like -3 in the north, some 5, all the way to like -6 northern Minnesota, some 30s all the way down to northern Florida, and still pretty cold across the mountains of the west, especially the very high elevations. So be careful. Friday afternoon does show so like some 20s across the north and 30s, and like still colder across the mountains of the west. Next Saturday morning, the 14th, still cold in many areas, especially like the northeast, some teens and very low teens, and even like 10 Fahrenheit in New Hampshire. Show some 30s all the way to Georgia, and like some 20s much to the north, and teens across the west there in the mountains. So be careful in those areas, and still cold on the 14th in the afternoon. Some 70s in the south, but still cold in the high elevations and in the north there. So be careful in those areas. And here, like for North America, we do have the wind chills, the very cold wind chills. So this is in Fahrenheit, I think. It's Celsius, good. So it does show there like the scales down here, like those purples, northern Canada, some -20, -30 there. Then you see that Arctic air coming down. While the temperature might be some -30, some wind chills in northern Saskatchewan might be close to like -35, some -40 wind chills in Nunavut. So be careful, this comes down and all the way to like this is around Thursday morning, shows those very cold air all the way down into the Midwest, with some wind chills, and like that's like -10 Fahrenheit in northern Minnesota, so some -5, -3. The wind chills might be close to like -20 Fahrenheit or something in northern Minnesota, even less than that. So be careful. This continues. Like Nunavut shows all the way to like -35 to -40 wind chills. So please be careful those areas and stay safe.